And good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Peter Hall. It is coming up on 2:38, and we have a tornado warning in effect. That is for northeastern Oneida County until 3 o'clock. That's that small area that you see in the red in northeastern Oneida County. This is not in effect for Syracuse or any of the immediate central New York area. And this is a radar confirmed and indicated rotation, not something that has been reported on the ground. It's a small section of northeastern Oneida County. So we're talking like, well, it's probably already near Boonville right now and approaching Forestport and Alder Creek in about 7 minutes or so. So that's where it is. Let's talk about if you have that tornado warning for those areas in far northeastern Oneida County. Stay calm, but get to your safe space right now. Now, typically that's going to be a basement, but maybe sometimes you don't have a basement. Go to the lowest level of any of your floors and get into an interior room, a small room like a bathroom that has the most walls between you and the outside walls. Hopefully you have a cell phone or a regular phone or some ways to communicate in case you are in danger. And you want to make sure you protect yourself and wait. Cover your head and wait for the storm to pass. Even if this is not a confirmed tornado, it's certainly something that has a lot of gusty winds with it, as we've been watching the squall line cutting through parts of central and northern New York. In fact, I wrote a web story about the possibility of an isolated spin-up type tornado yesterday on cnycentral.com at about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, giving you a lot of warning that we were going to watch some heavier rain, gusty winds, and the possibility of damaging winds and that isolated tornado threat. So let's show you. There's the full line of rain. And again, for context, the tornado warning in its effect is for that area right there. No type of storm system that comes through like a line, but then gets these little kinks on it. And that kink is happening right here, where you get just enough turning of the wind where you might be able to get a spin up of a tornado. What you're looking at right now is a velocity scan here, where you're seeing greens and reds. With the brighter the green, the stronger the wind, and the brighter the red, the stronger the wind. And as they come together, it would be right near Boonville right now that has the opportunity of a twisting type wind. Right there, Boonville, you are in the center of what may be a tornado or damaging wind. Either way, you need to be in your safe space right now. Next up for this particular cell would be moving up northeast and east-northeast to Woodgate, as well as Forestport and Alder Creek. I'll zoom in even closer for you so you can see another couple of towns. Granted, this is a rural area, but still, Hawkinsville is another area we need to be weather aware of right now. Zooming out for you, and let me take out the that arrow so we can look at this entire line alongside the velocity. Just to show you, you see how this line has kinks in it right in here? There's one we just showed you in Boonville. Now, granted, this one and this one aren't as strong, but they need to be monitored as well. See that by Western and also by Herbertville? We're going to take a quick look at these because this is the same storm system, granted, that doesn't have the tornado warning, but just south of the tornado warning, any of these little spin-ups may cause a problem. Like this one right here has my attention. We're going to zoom in for a closer look. This bit of a spin up right to the west. This is right on the intersection of Route 46, State Route 46 and 274. Here's 46 and 274, just between Western and Big Brook. That storm system is moving towards Steuben, not Steuben County, northern Oneida County city or town of Steuben, right in through here. You need to be getting to your safe space just in case. You actually have a regular severe thunderstorm warning, whether this is a twisting wind or regular straight line damaging wind. You still need to be careful and you need to be safe as this is moving through right now. We're also going to look at this Herbertville area. Right in there might be something that's twisting in here. Again, that's for the Forestport area. Here's Route 12 for you. If you're on or work along Route 12 between Forestport and the Boonville area, which I'm going to just zoom out right in here, you're actually in this tornado warning between this twist right here and this twisting area. These two little kinks that you see right in here, we need to be weather aware of a possible brief spin up. So we've mentioned Alder Creek and Forestport. We've mentioned Boonville and Hawkinsville. This is where you've got a tornado warning for you. And we'll go over those things that you should be doing once again in case you're tuning in a little late. When a tornado warning is issued, it doesn't necessarily mean one has been spotted on the ground, but whenever we have rotating winds in a thunderstorm, a brief spin-up may occur, and even if it's not a twisting wind, this line has had damaging winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour. You don't want to be outside with that. You don't want to be near a window with that or have a tree come down on your house and you're not aware of it. That's why we're alerting you to this right now. The basement is your best bet. However, you might not have a basement. So if you don't, or you're in a mobile home, get into the interior room, and you're going to want to make sure you get yourself to a safe space, a small room like a bathroom, which has walls that are very close in, and an interior room. That way, God forbid something happens and walls are caved in, you would then be somewhat protected from any outer wall of a house if you don't have a basement available. Try to keep calm as this storm system is passing through. Hopefully, you've got some way of communicating. God forbid you wind up inside and stuck or injured. Hopefully, you can have a cell phone and maybe even have a radio. And hopefully, you've had your cell phone charged, because we were alerting about this even since yesterday afternoon about the fact that we'd have damaging wind and the potential for this twisting type of tornado situation. You want to make sure you wait for the storm to pass. Now, this storm system doesn't have a lot of thunder. I actually haven't seen any lightning or heard any thunder with it whatsoever, but this is a different type of situation where there is so much wind energy that intense downdrafts of wind may come, even if it's not an electrified storm. So even though this quote-unquote a severe thunderstorm warning or even a tornado warning, you don't necessarily have to have lightning to have damage in this particular case. So again, a tornado warning is in effect for another 15 minutes or so for northeastern Oneida County. I'm going to just look over some information here that I'm looking at a different radar perspective of. And it's still showing a couple of swirls here between Big Brook and Steuben and Hawkinsville, Boonville. So you need to be aware in Woodgate, Forestport, Alder Creek, Remsen, and Fink Hollow, and Steuben. Meteorologist Josh Kozlowski, come on over here. Come on into the screen here. What do you got for me?
Just want to give you a quick update, Pete. They're extending it out a little bit further beyond 3. As with straight line damaging wind gusts here, not necessarily tornadic, but.
So this is for northeastern Oneida County. I see what they've done. So they've included that southern part, which I was talking about, as you can even see yourself here. You see this little twist here?
Yes.
These little kinks may produce a quick little spin up. So it makes sense. And I was even mentioning, even if it's a twisting wind or it's a straight line wind damage type of thing, you need to be safe.
Course.
And I appreciate that. So that is for a severe thunderstorm warning. Josh Kozlowski here doing a great job giving me some information. Hey, Josh, if you see anything, just come right on in and let me know if you see any damage. Appreciate that. And you, the viewer, you're staying safe. If you happen to be already done with the storm from the further west it was, and you are safe now, but you have seen damage, chime in on our website. Go to cnycentral.com, click chime in. It's an easy way of sending us pictures or videos. I know that there has been some power outages. I haven't had a chance to look at it recently over the past 10 or 15 minutes as I've been on the air here, so I'm going to try to take a look at this right now to see how many customers have been affected. Still about 1,900 customers in Jefferson County and 1,500 customers in Onondaga County have power outages, and that is from the storm system that already went through. So again, just to reiterate, the worst of the storms have already passed the 81 and Route 11 corridors. There is no more threat for damaging wind, no threats for tornadoes. However, there's more rain to come. The threat for damage is for our far eastern flank counties. That includes eastern and northeastern Oneida County, eastern Lewis County, and let's see, just going to make a look a little further south. We still need to be weather aware, although Madison and Shenango and Cortland counties don't have any severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings in effect. The heaviest storms still appear to be Lewis and central, eastern, northeastern Oneida counties, and the next would be, if it holds together, Herkimer County. Granted, that's now almost out of our viewing area. So, severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Lewis County, northeastern Oneida County, and for a very tiny spot of northeastern Oneida County, we have a tornado warning. I know Michael Benny has joined me. Michael, do you have any information that you want to pass along to us? If not, I'll continue.
Well, Peter, I think you've got all the information that we could possibly need right now. I do have a question that just popped up as I was in the newsroom and saw you on the air.
Yes, sir.
I couldn't help but wonder about the temperature today.
Yes.
And I thought, tornado warning with a temperature outside as it is right now. Are these storms ever temperature dependent?
Typically, you would only see severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings when it's hot and humid, something like that. I wrote a web story about this at 5:30, 6 o'clock, mentioning the word tornado, maybe a brief spin up. This same storm system yesterday at about this time was creating a line much like this, a linear line that came through with twists in it. There is so much wind energy up in the atmosphere where the clouds are and in the jet stream area. And you may have even noticed, not even with this tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning, the clouds moving really quickly.
Sure.
When you have enough wind energy, it doesn't take much for a little spin up of a tornado. So yes, this is unusual, but not unheard of.
Where do we stand right now? Who is in the danger zone in New York State as it stands right now?
You got it. So we still have this tornado warning for this small area of northeastern Oneida County. Okay, that is right in there between just northeast of Boonville. And that goes until, and northeast, this is the cell, then going to Woodgate and Remsen, and it's already past Boonville, but this Alder Creek area right there. See, there's the latest scan.
Sure.
That's the regular radar scan. I'm going to bring up the velocities, which actually shows the twisting a little bit better in here. I'm going to zoom in for you. See this, how the very bright greens? This is a velocity scan showing you winds moving away from the radar site and towards the radar site like this.
So that's where you get the twist.
Right, so you're having fast move winds like this, and when they come together like that, you get a little, okay, you can even see it better now. Let me just take off these arrows. So this is the very latest scan. The winds are rushing in and twisting like this and can actually pull them up and right in here. So if there is a tornado on the ground, it'd be in this small area right here between Hawkinsville and Woodgate. And it has moved roughly in this zone. It's a small system in terms of the actual tornado. But next up, it's around Alder Creek. Let me just make sure I've got that right. Probably Alder Creek. Let me zoom in because I've got another area. Yeah, I mean, this is a very rural area.
Oh, sure. We're talking about the sort of the central New York or Mohawk Valley foothills of the Adirondacks, almost. You go a touch further north.
Yeah, the Boonville Forest Preserve, the Popple Pond State Forest, Round Lake would be up in here. Not the Round Lake for Green Lake State Park, a different Round Lake, a northeastern Oneida County. And then eventually Woodgate would be the next populated area. So heads up in this particular zone right in here. By the way, just to clean this up here and show you the whole line, because I've been watching this, and while the National Weather Service is concentrating on this particular cell right here, there have been a couple of other little spins that we need to be weather aware. And this actual whole line right here across Lewis County, this whole thing right here could have damaging straight line wind. And sometimes straight line winds, as we all know with the Labor Day storm, can be just as powerful or more powerful than a weak tornado. So
we've seen them be deadly.
You're absolutely right. And sometimes you hear the word derecho. That's a straight line wind event. So we're still, let me just finish this up here, Michael, and then I'll ask you to ask. There's a couple of other twists. Here's the one we were watching right here that might have the tornado on the ground going to Woodgate, but we're still watching this one here, heads up Steuben and up to the Remsen area. Basically, here's your Route 12 corridor from Boonville down to Trenton. Here's another quick little spin up right here. We're going to watch this whole line as it migrates to far eastern Oneida County and then eventually Herkimer County. Yeah, go ahead.
Peter, bring people up to speed about why we're on the air right now. Why does a tornado warning trigger this wall-to-wall coverage?
It's an extreme event. It's a dangerous event. And can create very isolated but very earth-shattering and life-changing moments for families. And while it may not necessarily be for Syracuse or an extremely populated area, it is a very important information to get out to the public to make sure they're safe. And we gave some of those, we'll just go through it again just so you can see it on the screen here, what you should do if you've got a tornado warning. Right there, it's on the screen for you.
You mentioned population, so we've got a lot of people we know watching right now in the greater Syracuse area, the city included. This area of the tornado warning at this moment is in a sparsely populated area, but we do know that there are folks who do live there. Some people might be recreating there today, although the weather's not super pleasant. Should folks who know they have a loved one in that area give them a call?
That's a good idea. Yes, absolutely. In fact, if you have your cell phones and it's an updated cell phone, you probably had an EAS go off.
The warnings.
The warnings that it'll just go right through your phone.
That could wake the dead, sure.
They are very loud, aren't they?
They are very loud with purpose, yeah.
But yeah, so just to reiterate, like you had mentioned, central New York's going to get more rain. We'll keep a small chance of flash flooding for some of the southern hills of the Tug Hill and southern hills of south central New York. But yes, we only have the tornado warning in effect for another 5 minutes or so. And even if it were to be extended, we're now talking entering Herkimer County, which technically is out of our viewing area. But like you had mentioned, if you've got friends or family anywhere in far eastern Lewis, eastern Oneida, and Herkimer counties, even though Herkimer doesn't have a warning yet, you need to be giving them a heads up.
You've focused, obviously, and with good reason, about this warning, about these cells, about that spin, that rotation, and that was a great explanation of that. What's behind this? Is there anything further west of this system that we need to be concerned about in central New York as the hours tick forward, like to the dinner hour?
Good question. Let me show you the spin just one more time. There it is. And it's still pretty pronounced right here as it's moving towards Woodgate. So you need to be in your safe space right now. Woodgate. That's actually got some people there. Right along the 28 between Forestport, Woodgate, and Otter Lake. That storm continues to be twisting and likely, at the very least, has wind damage and possibly a tornado. Now, behind this, let's bring the entire system into focus. We were just in this small area right here. We still have a mess of rain back here. You might be saying, oh, I see it's kind of clearing back here in western New York. This is going to slow down and reinvigorate. So we're in for hours worth of rain. So if you're like, oh, I got to go to the supermarket, could you go do it 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock? Yes. Can you go out to dinner? You got to get your kids from practice, or you got to do some errands? Sure, but it's going to be raining the entire evening and through midnight before it tapers off late. I do want to make one more mention of something, because see how this line right here is still back a little further west? There's actually a severe thunderstorm warning right now for the Binghamton area. Okay, so we've got to watch this line because the front hasn't come through places like the Route 13 corridor. Just went through Ithaca, Cortland. I just want to be able to zoom in for you. So let's keep an eye here. This segment area here. This area from about Casanova, Utica, Little Falls, and then the central Leatherstocking region. This whole box that I'm watching, we're going to watch this line back here. Right now, it doesn't have anything severe, but just like what happened in northeastern Oneida County, we are going to watch each and every cell. It is not as strong as the other ones, but it is possible that somewhere in this boxed area, a severe thunderstorm warning, or God forbid, maybe even a tornado warning might be issued. So if that happens, we'll cut in again. Now, I have not seen a reissuance of this warning. It's about to be expired in 5 minutes. So I think we can probably hand off back to network coverage if that's okay with everybody, or I can stay on because basically I think we've said everything we need to say about Woodgate and what is next. You know what? I'll say one more thing. We'll say one more thing. If you are or know of anyone, again, it's pretty between Old Forge and Atwell, and we're talking a lot of lakes and mountains areas. So let them know in the south of Old Forge area and also in the far north country.
Yeah, and a lot of people who may not be tapped in to, as all the folks who are watching right now. Peter, you're confident in letting folks go back to regular programming at this moment?
I think we can do that, yes, because there's only 4 minutes left in the tornado warning, and I'm fine with it right now. Of course, if there's anything that happens further to the south, which I just mentioned before, this thing hasn't gone through the areas right here. Now, there is nothing scary. There's nothing twisting, okay, across Madison or Shenango or Cortland counties. But if something happens, we're, of course, cut right back in.
Very good. And good to watch. Good to know. Thank you, Peter, for your expertise in walking us through this. For Peter Hall, I'm Michael Benny. Good day.